So, it's finally time. The hunting horn, boys. Let's go! So welcome back. Today, we're finally taking a look at the hunting horn. The weapon that has probably gotten the most overhaul out of all the 14 weapons. And I have to say, everybody has been super hyped up about this. And for good reason. Because it's basically a completely different weapon than it was in previous versions of Monster Hunter. So I'm excited to find this out with you guys. What it does, what it can do, just discuss about how it is now in the Rise demo. I think for those of you who have used Hunting Horn before, you probably noticed the difference in the song list. Right now, you see that it's extremely simplified. So basically what you do now is simply play two of the same notes, and you don't even have to do a recital anymore, the buff just comes out. So this time in Rise, buffing has become much more simplified than it was in War or the previous versions, and it's very easy for anybody to pick this up. So if you want to attack buff, just do 2 A buttons and there you go. You got the attack buff. And I think the only slightly confusing one would be self-improvement. So if we took a look back at World, you can see on the top right corner of the screen, you can see that self-improvement, at least on this hunting horn, is 2 purple notes, which would be left click and left click. And there you go. You have self-improvement. But this time, self-improvement will be your ZR button. So you go into this breakdance move and tada! Self-improvement. And then also, if you wanted to, there's this thing called the Magnificent Trio. So basically all you have to do is play each of the 3 different notes at least once. You don't have to play them in any specific order or at a specific number of times, just at least once. They don't even all have to be in the stuff over there for you to use the Magnificent Trio. So what Magnificent Trio does is basically, if you look to the right of the staff, you can see that you have to press ZR plus X. So what happens when you do that is you go into this crazy dancing, getting loads and loads of hits, and after the whole thing is done, you get your self-improvement, defense up, attack up, and health recovery. So basically, just that single move alone gives you all the buff that your horn has to offer. So for those of you who are lazy and want to speed buff yourself, all you have to do is play each of the notes once, go into this, and tada! You got your buff. Instead of having to go slowly one by one. You see that takes a while before you get all 3 buffs. So that is an option that you have. I don't think inputting the directions will change up the moves like it would in World, but at the very least, your A button and your ZA will change directions. So in your second hit here, you'll go to the right if you input right, and for your A button, you can change up your direction. So there you have it. So now, for those of you who have played the Hunting Horn in World, you would notice that the spinny horn move, the one where you jab your Hunting Horn into the floor and spin it around, you get lots of KO damage. That thing is no longer spammable, sadly. Instead, what it has changed to is a special move on its own, and it grants its own special buff. So if you look to the left of the stuff, you can see the hunting horn icon. That circle thingy, it'll gradually fill up um, when you hit the monsters, and once the whole thing is full, you perform your magnificent trio, and then you press ZR again, and then you do the spinny horn move, and it gives you an additional attack buff. I don't know the exact amount, but it gives you an attack buff. That's all I know. Also, another thing that's different from the hunting horn in World is that we don't exactly have Encore anymore. So for those of you who don't know what Encore is, basically it allows you to stack up your buff a second time. So in this example, we'll use the attack up buff. So if we take a look at the stats, my current attack is 1205. So if I were to do an attack up buff, and I play that once, so now you see it goes up to 1369. But thanks to the Encore, I can actually play a second time, and now you see on the corner there, it becomes attack up extra large. And now I have 1424. So this applies to all of the buffs that can be stacked. So your attack up and your defense up mainly, and also your self-improvement. That's no longer the case in Rise, at least in the demo. Or at the very least, not that we can tell, because we cannot see the weapon damage and defense and character stats and everything. So there's no telling if the Encore buff is still there. So meaning to say, if we were to play this song twice, whether it would buff us a second time, we won't know for sure until we get to see the stats. But until then, I'm speculating that Encore is not a thing. Also, for those of you who don't know, back in World, if you were running around like this, and you wanted to draw your weapon into an attack, you would always have to press X or left click on the keyboard and mouse. And what that did was that if you were running around and you tried to draw your weapon, you will always draw with your left click. So what happens is that your first node will always be the left click node. The same also applies for when you jump off a ledge or perform basically a jumping draw attack. That is no longer the case in Rise as well. They have changed that, so no matter whether you're running or jumping off a cliff, so if you were to jump off and draw your weapon, you notice that it doesn't immediately go into an attack. Now the reason for that is because you actually get to choose your initial node now. So if you were to draw and then if you press A, you get the A node instead of the X. Or if you wanted to, you can hop off, draw, and go to XA. Although the moves are the same, but your initial node is different. So same goes with the running. You first draw your weapon and then you get to choose your first attack. So that's just a very neat thing, because back in World, the songs came in a particular, you have to play the notes in a certain order for you to get the songs queued up. So having it always drawn into one note could be a little bit of a problem, because maybe you were just one note off from your desired song, but you accidentally, draw your weapon and then you fucked up the whole song and now you have to redo the whole thing. Yeah, that's no longer the case in Rise. So now some of you may know this, or some of you may not. Remember this move? Where you break dance on the floor? This move actually has iframes, in case you guys didn't know. There was a video on YouTube, I don't remember who it was by, I'll put it up on the screen. But the whole video was titled Hunting Horn Recital Iframes. To show you guys that there are iframes, I'm gonna use a barrel bomb. So notice, if I don't dodge the explosion, I get hit, and I take damage. But if I were to time it right, that was not timed right. If I were to time it right, I don't take any damage, I don't take any knockback, it's pure iframes. So, in case you guys didn't know, now you do. Now let's talk about the silkbind moves. So if you press Z, L and X, you get propelled forward and you do a little bit of breakdancing, which you do actually hit the monster, which is really nice. So the interesting thing about the ZL and X silkbind, I'm gonna call it silkbind 1 and silkbind 2. So X will be silkbind 1 and A will be silkbind 2, just to simplify things, because I don't remember the names. So silkbind 1, during the whole animation of the propelling, you actually get hyper armor, not iframes. For those of you who don't know what hyper armor is, think of it as like a temporary rock steady mental. So even if you get hit, you don't take any knockback or flinch or anything, your attack doesn't get interrupted, but you still take damage, although less damage than you normally would take. Now, Silkbind 2. This move will cost you 2 wire bucks, and basically what it does is you'll stab your hunting horn into the monster, and wherever you hit, typically you want to aim for the head. So if you hit the monster's head with that, there will be a wire bug string thingy stuck onto the monster's head, and then you know what? Let me just show you. So let's say you are supposed to get hit. See, I took reduced damage, I think. Ow. That was mighty nice of you, Azuros. So see, your movement doesn't get interrupted at all, and you take lesser damage. See, I didn't get hit at all from that first swipe. And then also now you see, the hunting horn icon has been fully filled. So if I were to do a magnificent trio, in a second, once I... yes. Yeah, now it's down. So then if I press ZR again after that, see, that's the spinny move, and you get the Song of Raging Flame. Basically it's a short attack buff. I don't know how much it buffs you by, but you know, it's there. So now as for Silkbind 1, it's a great move for repositioning as well. So if you do that, boom! Maybe you're a bit too far away, but with that, you actually get to close up the gap. And then if I can get this guy to knock down again, there we go. ZA, bam! There's a Silkbind 2, you have that string, and then you basically play your guitar like a rock star, and send the shockwave straight into where the silk bug has been implanted into, which I think is actually pretty sick. It also does a fuck ton of damage. Just to show you guys how much damage it does. Bam! On the hit, and boom! That's what, 200 over damage from that one attack alone? It's insane! So just chopping in a bit from the future here, after I recorded that previous footage. Something that I forgot to mention. So remember the Magnificent Trio? Now something that I didn't mention is that if while in the middle of performing your Magnificent Trio, it gets interrupted for whatever reason, you can actually use it again. So what do I mean? So normally if you perform your Magnificent Trio, it disappears, right? But let's say if you were to perform it and it got interrupted. So see, I was in the middle of the Magnificent Trio already, clearly. But I got hit and it got interrupted. But the Magnificent Trio thingy is still there. So, in case you guys didn't know, now you do. Also, just like you saw just now, your Silkbind 1 can actually... the ending of your Silkbind 1 can actually be cancelled by dodging. Not cancelled, but you can chain it. So immediately after the whole animation finishes, you can actually dodge instantly to reposition yourself or like get yourself out of the way of a incoming attack. So yeah, I think that is basically everything that I wanted to say for this part of the whole video. So I'll give it back to the past me to continue with whatever he wanted to say. But yes, overall, I think the Hunting Horn has been massively overhauled, and right now it's probably the most OP of all the 14 weapons. So in my honest opinion, I think when the game officially launches in March, some parts of it is definitely going to get nerfed. I feel like this demo is just to get people all hyped up about the Hunting Horn and have people want to try the Hunting Horn more. And that is definitely working for sure. It's just that the thing is, right now it does way too much damage. What I'm thinking is that the damage on the Hunting Horn will probably get nerfed some. And then, you know, honestly, I like the simplified versions of how to play the song. I'm just hoping that maybe in the full game we get more of what the songs look like back in WoW. So, you know, different combinations will give you a different song. So instead of having each Hunting Horn only having 4 songs including self-improvement, they could possibly add in, you know, slight variations like maybe XAX or maybe XX, X plus A, or, you know, stuff like that to give even more different buffs. And I think they could possibly make the Magnificent Trio stay the way it is right now. So it gives you these 4 basic buffs: your XX, AA, X plus A, X plus A, and self-improvement. And doesn't give you the buffs that require the more complicated inputs. I think that will give the Hunting Horn a lot more options to, you know, expand on its song list instead of having just 4 on every Hunting Horn. But we'll see when the game actually launches. But I think that will be it for the Hunting Horn, and I'll leave you guys with the gameplay of me bowling Great Izuchi again. So, hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll see you guys again in the next one. And as always, happy hunting, hunters.
Shoot!